Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon Wound Pickups.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to this show with Jared and Tony and me and one of the greatest supporters three dum-dums could ever ask for.
Who you call a dum-dum?
Who is on the line, Mr. Supporter Man?
Hey, it's Tom Burazin.
Hey, Todd.
I recognize that name.
Tony, I think you need to do it.
Tom Burazin.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
All right. So those of you who have been listening to the show for a long time, you have probably heard that name more than any other name, maybe except for John Schneider Drink, on the show. And that is because Tom was the very first person to sign up when we launched our Patreon.
What was I thinking?
And truly gave us just such an incredible boost of
morale.
That's the word I was thinking for, not momentum.
I finish your sentences.
You're good at that. So, Tom, thank you and welcome to the show. To be clear, the reason Tom's on the show is that we said, you know what? We've got amazing supporters, especially at certain levels. Besides supporting the show, these are people who obviously care a great deal about the guitar community, the boutique building community, the gear. Like, they're in it. And that's why they're showing their support. So we want to find out, like, what are they thinking about? So when I say they, we're going to have each of our grand poobahs on and a few others over the next several months. So we're going to hear from these people who are not just supporting our show, but I mean, honestly, if you're a builder out there, they're probably supporting you. If you are commenting on posts or if you've posted pictures of you playing and stuff, they're supporting you as well. It's not just us. We want to recognize them and give them a chance to talk about their passion as well. How'd I do, Tom?
Wow, that was just way more than I could ever ask for.
I think he wants to thank the Academy.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I got to get up on my soapbox now. And start.
Oh, boy. All right.
I think I have to thank you guys because, 5 years ago when I started listening or whatever it was, I was driving to work and I have a long commute. And it's the first job I had in 30 years because I was always self-employed. So I just needed something to listen to. And I found you guys. And luckily, I found something that I've always been interested in. So, it's worked out for everybody.
I'm so glad that you didn't judge the book by its cover because back then the cover was hand drawn with a crayon. So
you know what though? It started off. You could kind of see it. It was a little rough at first, but then it got better. It got better, and I think that the three of you guys have such a good personality together, and you interact with each other.
And I'm handsome.
Yeah, and that too. I mean, you got that. Right?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, but yeah. So I just enjoy every episode. And
Awesome.
Good. Well, that's great to hear.
We hope that everybody who is listening feels like they're sitting at the table with us. I mean, honestly, that's what we want. And I hope that comes through.
I think the only thing is for me, because I listen to you on a commute, I listen to you at 1.5. So right now,
Do you really?
guys are talking really slow to me.
Oh, nice.
We you know what? Here's something that's funny is on accident, I was trying to play back. This is maybe about a year or so ago. I was trying to play back for the guys. I had just done a really funny edit on the the thing. Tony, what's the words? Give me the words.
I've been internet.
I've been literally on a Zoom for about 9 hours, so I'm a little French toast here. the things that we do at the end, like the outtakes. Oh, this is gonna be awful. What am I doing? Anyways,
The outtakes.
yeah. So we were listening to an outtake, and for whatever reason, I accidentally hit the half speed thing. And Tony and Jared and I, and at first we were like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" And then it's like,
It was a Cheech and Chong movie.
yeah. Oh, that sounds fantastic, man. And we were just crying, absolutely crying.
You have to cycle through. So sometimes you got a guest on, and I want to, I'll miss it because it's just a little bit too, or somebody talks a little too fast or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll cycle through it, and you have to go through that half speed first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always like, and then you get back to the part or whatever, and then I can speed up again. But yeah, I always listen to the whole thing all the way through too.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
All the
great.
way right to the end, because some of the best parts are at the end where you have the
The outtakes are definitely last. So who's your favorite knob?
Oh, stop it.
No pressure.
I think we'd all say Jared.
Yes.
pretty much. He's my
just
guy.
trying to make me feel better. All the insults and jokes.
Yes. We'll pin your tail right back on there.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Let's get to this. All right. We're going to have a great show. We're going to thank a few people really quick.
Oh, yes, we are.
Who? Oh, wowzers. That's right. We're going to thank Rode Mics for providing this awesome audio equipment that is capturing our voices so very well.
Yes, it is.
Did
you press record, by the way?
I did. Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. Does that happen? Does that happen?
Never.
No, never. Why would that happen? We are trained professionals.
Thanks to Rode, they have a big giant indicator that says whether they're recording or not, right?
Yes.
That is correct. And as a matter of fact, this is, legitimately we're thanking Rode. And I want to take this step further because that's actually a great point, Jared, is that when they first sent us the Rodecaster Pro, this the machine that really kind of changed our podcast. Pardon me. It changed our podcast because it put everything all into one box. We had this giant thing that looked like NASA built it. That was doing it before, and they said, "Hey, here's this thing. You should check it out, and we want to hear your feedback." One of the things that I pointed out as feedback was that the color of the record button was the same whether it was like on or off.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what that means. It's like, yes, thumbs up. It's green. It's recording. No, red is recording. Change it to red, please. And they did. Like right out of that, not because, hey, we got a letter from Todd, we should change this. But obviously enough other people said, hey, you should change that button to be red for recording. Yes. So that's what kind of company they are there. Then they pounced on it right away. It wasn't like, oh, in 6 months, we'll take care of that. It was great.
No, they definitely are. They're on top of it. And I mean, I'm just speaking because I've used a lot of audio gear over the years. And I mean, between the microphones and the Rodecaster Pro, I mean, it is. I mean, it's simple to use, and it's high quality stuff. So, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it.
It's pretty comparable, isn't it?
Comparable to
other brands, or
it exceeds.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a reason. Even in the video world, it's like you see Rode stuff all over everybody's cameras.
Yeah.
So
and it's not because they like Australians,
right? Well, although everybody does.
Everybody, I was supposed to.
They're
go to
probably the one
Australia
country
last
that
year.
everybody actually really likes, right?
I was supposed to go to Australia last year, and right at this time, right when COVID hit, and my trip got canceled.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's this has been a missing year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well,
on that high note,
yes,
Right?
Yeah.
Rode Mics. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Tom.
Yay.
All right, we're just going to get right to it, guys. Let's find out what's going on in our music world this week. Tony,
Oh, you're going to start with me?
Yeah, and then we'll talk to Tom.
Okay. Can I apologize in advance for being a little lengthy today? I felt last week I was a little short, but this week I've been doing some research, and I just wanted to kind of get the word out about something
Sure.
that I think is going to be attractive to a lot of people. So,
The senator has the floor.
okay. Thank you for the floor centering, senatoring. Probably most people remember Fender came out with the alternate reality series.
Thanks very much, Tony. Tom, how about you? I legit got Tony on that one. Okay.
What about you, Todd?
All right.
So anyhow, before I was so rudely interrupted, Fender came out with the alternative reality series, which was kind of a mishmash of various models and things a couple of years ago. Squier, which is a division of Fender, just last year, this stuff was supposed to be rolled out at the Summer NAMM show in Nashville, which didn't happen. Then that was supposed to roll out in the Winter NAMM show, which didn't happen. They came out with what they're calling the Paranormal series. Now, what's really cool about this series is there's a couple of models on here in particular that I am particularly fond of. So they basically reissued some of the kind of more unusual models that Fender and Squier released over the years, especially in the 90s. And all of them are under 400. Two of the models are under 350. So there's a lot of room to take a guitar like this, clean it up, put new pickups,
the heck out of it.
I mean, it's and I've actually handled two of these models, and while the wood that they use isn't necessarily what I would have chosen, the finishes are a little heavy. It's I think for the money, it's an incredible series to get into. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I'll start with the three that are my personal favorites. That's the Toronado, which is it's a short scale, 24 3/4 scale, kind of a squat Jazzmaster Jaguar body with double humbuckers. I'm going to say what I think this is. That to me, that looks like a Tele Custom on a Jaguar body. Yeah, it's very similar to that, and I actually own one of the original series, which was made in Mexico, was a Fender, and I liked it a lot. I mean, it's a really well made instrument. The Squier one that I picked up it feels about the same. That shorter Gibson scale, I think is a real benefit for people who are used to that and maybe want to try jumping into a Fender or a Squier in this case. The other model that is attractive that I also owned when it was originally in the 90s, Squier had the Supersonic, which is basically an upside down Jaguar. So it was modeled after, there are some photos of Jimi Hendrix playing a right-handed Jaguar upside down, and they thought that they would kind of replicate that. And they made a couple of changes to make it a little more playable, especially on the treble side. Both of those models are street price $349.
That's crazy.
They both come in like the
Brand
Tornado
new.
comes in black and Lake Placid blue. The Supersonic comes in ice blue and graphite. And then the other model that is very attractive to me is it's called the Cyclone, and it's basically what Fender released as the Cyclone 3, which has basically a Mustang body, also 24 3/4 inch scale, and it has three slanted Jaguar pickups and a Jaguar switch plate on it. So
that's the cool part.
Yeah, and that makes it really cool. But even cooler is it comes in shell pink and Daphne blue.
Yeah.
So just do yourself a favor.
Mike Trombley's going to lose his mind.
Yeah, he might. But go, just Google Squire Paranormal Series, and you can check out some of this stuff. There's 4 others that I'll just briefly mention. There's the offset telly, which is what we call a telemaster, or it's basically a jazz master with tele appointments. There's a Cabernita thin line, which has 2 Jazzmaster pickups in it, and it's a thin line guitar. There's a baritone Cabernita, which has a longer 27-inch scale. That's right. And then, not so that the bass players don't feel left out, there is a Jazz Bass 54, which is basically an early P bass style pick guard, like a 51 P bass that has the guard that goes up into both horns, only on a jazz bass body. And it looks pretty cool too. So, but again, all of those are under 400. And then the Toronado and the Supersonic under 350. It's worth checking out and grabbing one when they become available again. They've been off the market now for a little while, and I think that between COVID and delays, and they wanted to hold back until they could release it at an NAMM show. So, knock on wood, if there's a summer show,
they're hopping it up right now. Sign up, yeah.
So anyhow, that's what I was doing this week. In addition to my normal fun stuff, I just every once in a while I try to get a little research in and find out what's going on in the market.
Excellent. Tom, how about yourself?
I'm looking at the paranormals here. Okay. So what's happened with me? So my band played for the first time on Friday night in over a year.
Wow.
We only play a couple times a year anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But we've been getting ready for that. We have a 7-piece band, and we played out Friday night, and it was actually a private party, but then they said that we could invite family and friends, or whoever we want after 8:00. Well, that was a mistake, because it's COVID, and there's maybe 40 people. It was like a wedding hall type of thing, and with a stage and everything. But once the family and friends showed up, it was over 100 people.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, well, it was, but yeah. So, I don't think anybody was expecting that, and it was a lot of fun and stuff. It was fun to play out again and stuff. So, but and since then, the band's so excited to play in the barn again. They're like, "Well, can we have practice this week?" And I'm like, I kind of need a break, I just, because we've been, getting ready for the Friday, and I'm going on vacation at the end of March, and so I'm just I just need a little bit of break. So I guess my music role right now is I'm trying to take a break, and this is my last thing on the list before before I get back to just relaxing and taking a vacation and stuff. So
Nice.
Sounds good, man. Jared, how about yourself?
A couple of little cool ditties. Had lunch with my older brother today, and his daughter, Sunny, is in training to work at Sweetwater.
Really?
And
that's cool.
Yeah. And so I guess Sunny told my brother Andy, he's like, "Hey, man," and the way this got brought up, by the way, is I said, "Hey, did you see that Jason Alexander commercial where the kid's wearing his face on a shirt?" And then you see him in the car saying, "Hey, you can't wear my face." And my brother's like, "Yeah, man." He said, "By the way, Jason Alexander is a customer of Sweetwater."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Jason
really?
Alexander is George Costanza from
George
Seinfeld.
Costanza. Yep. Or the teacher on Young Sheldon, but nobody cares because he's George Costanza.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, "Oh, is he a musician?" He's like, "No, he's got a podcast." So we're gonna check that out. Yeah, he's a podcaster guy. So I guess he's buying his equipment from Sweetwater.
Oh,
Nice.
That's cool.
So I found that out, and also the pedal I talked about, the Velvet Fog.
Mm-hmm.
So Calvin Cordy Audio, he emailed me and he's like, "Hey man, I just remembered I actually built that pedal for a Vox AC30." And I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Clip these bright caps out and that should play right along with your Marshall." I did, and it completes all my Marshalls that don't have any channel. Like, I have one Marshall that you can switch the channel. It's the dual super lead.
Mm-hmm.
But all my old, JTMs and my JCM 100 watters and all those, there's only one channel. There's no channel switching. So this thing is absolutely perfect for that. It's like an extra gain stage, and it's really the best thing so far that I've found that fits my sound and tone, and it's really working out. It's a great pedal. And then I had one more thing, but I don't remember. So we'll save it for next week, whatever I forgot.
Well, for me,
what about you, Todd?
Thanks,
yeah, Todd,
Tony.
please tell us. I always forget every time. I'm a jerk. Sorry.
I occasionally get asked to shop for people. In this case, there's a gentleman who actually owns the company that I work at. He said, "Hey, I want to get a new amp. I just want to get something that I can plug in and just kind of have some fun with it. I'm not going to be gigging with it or anything." So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." We've actually done a couple shows on that. I went to a few go-tos and started listing out a few things, and I found, Tony, speaking of your new discoveries,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, a Champ would probably be a good thing. And I'm like, but it's got an 8-inch, you'd have to get a used one, 8-inch speaker kind of thing. No. The Fender 68 Custom Vibro Champ Reverb.
Yeah.
There
5 watt
Yeah.
with a 10-inch speaker
Nice.
Yeah.
is about to be released. You can get it on pre-order right now. Musician's Friend has it on pre-order, and it's $749. Now,
Yeah.
I realize that is nearing what you can pick up a deluxe for used, and even newish. But it isn't a deluxe, and you can make it kind of sound ripping. And a deluxe is not going to do that. So
It's 5 watts. It's 5 watts. Yeah.
So I thought that's pretty cool, and that'd be worth sharing right there. That'd be a nice little addition to anybody's little home studio.
Oh yeah, the Vibra Champs were even the original series there's still a lot of people that use them. They're a really good, again, small amp, but for studio stuff or practice, it's 5 watts gets pretty loud.
The only thing is the spring tank. There's no spring tank on there.
No, it's a digital. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct. But you don't have to use that if you don't want to.
Right.
But it does have the vibe, so that's kind of cool.
It's got tube tremolo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're
doing.
doing fine right there. I mean, the thing's pretty much loaded. It's So anyway, so there's that. So everybody, hey, you might want to go check that out because that's a pretty sweet little deal, and it's not gonna get you kicked out of your house. The other thing, right along with it, Supro just released something called the 1820 Delta King. That is a 5 watt tube guitar amp, and it's got the sort of the Supro Tolexy kind of stuff on the front, but it's black, which I think really, honestly, I'm like, why can't you make just a black? I just want a black one, But it's got sort of some retro, almost like the TV cutout kind of thing in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And this is sporting some pretty sweet stuff. This is it's got a 12AX7 preamp, a FET-driven boost, a Pigtronics fat high gain mode, master volume. Pretty sweet.
What size speaker?
And the power tube is 6V6.
What size speaker though?
That is a 10-inch speaker.
Oh,
Not bad.
yeah.
And you know how much that little sucker is?
How much?
$549.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I mean, and I love my Supro. So I can just imagine like that thing's got to sound fantastic because you could goose it. So anyways, not only just for an in-home kind of amp, but like that's another, we've been talking about, doing multiple amps and stuff like that. If you've got a pedal platform amp, I love the idea. And actually my bass player was doing this live. He's got this Mesa boogie, like, incredible bass rig thing. But he's also got like a Fender, I think it's a Fender Rumble, this tiny little bass amp, and he just cranks it and it sounds awesome in pairing with his big bass tone. So the same thing, you get one of these little guys and you throw a mic on it and just goose it. And what a great drive sound that is in accompaniment of your normal, situation. Kind of cool.
So Todd, what did you recommend to your friend?
I didn't recommend one. I need to find out what he's like, because I gave him. Well, actually, I can share the list that I'll tell you exactly what I sent him. I sent him the Greer amp Mini Chief 8-watt tube amp. When I was at Greer's studio, factory thing, business, pick a word, Todd, where he makes the stuff. He started playing that, and I just about fell to pieces. I mean, that thing sounds incredible. And so I said, you can get that, but you're going to need to get a little cabinet. I also recommended the Fender Vibro Champ, which we just talked about, $750, brand new. The Black Star Studio combo, that's a 10-watt one. That's a 12-inch. Nice. That's a 12-inch speaker.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it's only $600 new. And then the Supro Delta King, like I just talked about, and in this line that they just put out, by the way, they've got a 1-watt amp, a 10-watt amp, and I think a 15 that goes with it. So
you mean for the Supro or for the?
Yeah, there's a Blues King 8, which is 1 watt. They've got the Delta King, which is a 10-watt, and I believe that there's another one. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I thought I saw another one. Anyways, but for his purposes, I said, hey, you should check out the Delta King, which is a 5-watt, to get just a little bit more. He wants to kind of rock out a little bit. I'm like, yeah, the 1 watt with the 8-inch speaker,
Not going to rock out much.
No. And as well, the ZT Lunchbox 2, which is $399 brand new. So, that's 100 watts in that thing. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, so you can't go wrong. Any one of those is going to sound mighty good, I think.
I like Charlie Watts better.
I was thinking you were too quiet, Tony. Jared,
How about some of this?
1, 2, 3, 4 on the floor.
Hey, Todd.
Yes, sir.
You were talking back before the Rodecaster Pro. We had a mishmash of equipment that we would try to do our podcast on.
There's cords all over the place, and
there was, as I like to call it, the spaghetti cable methodology.
Yes.
That's all changed now. Not only because we have the Rodecaster Pro, but there is a company that makes these cables for your pedal board, and I'm sure if you twist an arm, you could probably have one done up for some other equipment. But most specifically, I'm talking about Tour Gear Designs cables.
Yes, those are mighty fine cables, and we talk about them all the time.
We do, and they're great. They come in a variety of sizes. They're very affordable. They're very dependable, and they're made with love because each one is tested by a human, and they are signed off on the little card that you get, which to me, that's a nice little extra step. I like it.
That's a good deal. I would suggest that anybody who is remotely intrigued by this, get yourself over to tourgeardesigns.com/discount /guitar knobs, and you're going to save 10%. A 3-pack of 8-inch flat cables is $26.
Oh my goodness.
That's you're going to pay that for, in some cases, for one cable, and that's for an 8-inch cable.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you can imagine what happens when you start going, hey, I only need a little 3-inch cable, like a top to top situation. Make sure you get over to tourgeardesigns.com /discount /guitar knobs and get that 10% off a whole bunch of different length of cables. Thank you so much to Tour Gear Designs for making an awesome product, which we all stand behind. Mr. Tom Burazin.
Yes.
We want to.
Thought we lost you.
I was just thinking of I had sent a message to Tour Gear. I hope they start making TRS cables.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wouldn't that be cool if they made a TRS like that?
I know that they are working on a couple of new innovations, so I'm excited to see what's coming out. Tom Burazin, you need to give us your 4 on the floor right now.
I can't believe I'm doing 4 on the floor. Crazy. This is crazy. I also thought I'd send in my 4 on the floor, but then I just never did because I thought, well, maybe
I tried that too, and I didn't.
Maybe one day they'd ask me to be on the show. Okay, so I've gone over this a ton. Picking a 4 on the floor, that's a serious business.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's a commitment.
It really is. Yeah, right. So,
amen.
Right off the bat, I'm gonna say that. I'm going to give you my 4 on the floor, but I'm also going to give you things that I wish they had.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I can't put.
Do your 4 on the floor and then do your four on the floor wish list. How about that?
Okay. Yeah. So the first one I'm going to go with is Source Audio EQ2. Yeah. It's so cool. It's basically a parametric EQ. Think of if you had a Boss GE7 that did everything you wanted it to do. That's what this is. It's amazing. Yeah, it's like a 10-band EQ, but it's also a parametric EQ. It's a gate. It's a limiter.
And it's got presets.
It's got presets. Yes.
Thing, yes.
Okay, so that's my other big thing. So, playing in a band, I just play in a cover band, right? And it's just dad rock and stuff, but the worst thing you can have is waiting for everybody to switch their stuff up, right? You're playing a song, you're ending, and then you got to take 3 or 4 minutes to play the next song. That's just way too much. You're killing people. So I use MIDI because of that. So all of these pedals that I'm doing right now are MIDI pedals, and that's why they're my 4 on the floor.
Wow.
Because I need MIDI. Okay. So yeah, this EQ2, you can basically, you save presets, 127 presets, whatever you want. We usually do about, 30, 40 songs. And it's just, instead of waiting 2 minutes and tap dancing around, it's just, stepping once on your switcher and everything changes. And it's that simple.
So you'd mentioned that you have to have MIDI. So, what switcher or MIDI controller are you using?
Okay, so I just switched that too.
Nice.
I just switched my MIDI switcher. So over the years, I've had the Boss MS3 I use as a MIDI switcher.
Mm-hmm.
I've used the HX Stomp as MIDI switcher. Most recently, I used MIDI Baby by Disaster Area Designs. That's a great beginner MIDI switcher for anybody. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about getting into MIDI, that's a fantastic one. It's really simple, super easy to use, and you can even use it in a color mode. So you just switch based on colors.
Now, Tom, before you take a single step further, for anybody that might be listening, that's okay, we've said MIDI about 20 times. I'm not going to ask you to technically explain MIDI, but from a switcher standpoint, can you just kind of explain basically what that's doing?
Yeah, basically you're sending a like patch change or control change to each pedal. And so if you have, I run about 8 pedals at a time. And instead of, like I said, during a song, you're going to the next song. And instead of, futzing with knobs and turning everything around, you just basically one step on a switch and it sends a patch change, two-digit number to all of the pedals at the same time, and everything changes at the same time. The switcher I use right now is the Morningstar M3, I believe it's called. It's three buttons. I like that one because you can actually have it. It has a display on it. The MIDI Baby by Disaster Area doesn't have, so you need another pedal that has a display if you're going to use something like that, or you have to use it in a color mode. So basically, if I step on the switch and we're playing, Tom Petty, Refugee, it says Refugee, and I hit that and everything's ready. I can play.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of guys out there are really afraid of MIDI, and you don't have to be. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. MIDI pedals usually have an in and an out. So if I send it from my Morningstar, I send 2 kinds: regular 5-pin cable, and then also that's why I was talking about it would be great if Tour Gear did TRS cables, because you can also send MIDI through a TRS cable, just like an expression cable, pedals like Strymon. Oh, who else? A Jackson Audio. They use that TRS cable. Chase Bliss uses it. And then most other, MIDI pedals are the 5-pin. So if you send a path, you send out your patch, or I'm sorry, your PC message out on the 5-pin cable. It goes to your first pedal, and then out of there it sends the same patch to the next pedal, and that sends it to the next. So you can sort of daisy chain a bunch of pedals together, send one message, and it'll control all of them. It's like I said, it's that simple. So
that sounds pretty sweet, man.
Yeah. The EQ2 Source Audio, check it out. If you ever want to know about what frequencies, when you're playing in your tone and you're like, well, I want to hear more of this, or I want to hear more mids, or I want to hear 1.6. You start to learn all the different frequencies and what changes and makes things better or worse. And a lot of guys can do that just with a GE7 and just, bend down and, move some sliders. But it's just great to just step on something and the whole thing changes. Yeah. Plus, if you're running any kind of gain stuff, I run it towards the end before delay, and it has a really great gate on it that's controllable. So if you have anything that's noisy or whatever, it can put a little gate on it. It has a limiter.
And there's a level for that, right? You can make it more effective or less effective. That's nice.
There's a threshold. So you can turn the gate on, but then there's also a threshold setting. So I think it starts at 100, and then you can go down. So you'll just turn it down to where that noise on that patch, patch number 3, whatever you're doing. You just turn it down till it turns, till the noise is gone, and you're all set.
Awesome.
And then it's as simple as just holding a button to save the MIDI on the pedal. And that's another thing I think a lot of people don't understand is, they think, well, I have to program these things. And basically your MIDI controller is just sending, for the most part, messages. Your pedals are all saving the settings for whatever message it's receiving. So, my favorite, I think, is Strymon pedals. Not the the bigger ones, but I'm talking the the Sunset Compadre. Oh,
that Sunset Drive is so good.
Yeah, I have the Sunset. That's so. For instance, on the Sunset Drive, you know, you get it to where you want. This is a funny. You know, I am so against tube screamers because I feel like they're cliche. But on the Sunset, I use the Texas, and I guess that's the tube screamer setting.
Whoops.
But anyway, so you get it to where you want to be. You just hold the button, it turns blue, it flashes, you press it again, and now it's saved. So patch number 3, Refugee, you're all set to go.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than I think a lot of people know. Or, you know, they a lot of people don't even want to try, or they just think it's too much. But I'm telling you, it's once you start doing it, you'll be like, yeah, this really is a lot better.
This is the business.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we've gotten through one pedal. But that's okay. We're having a good time.
We tried to.
That's what we're here to do for. No rush.
All right. Second one, we're gonna go with. Oh, geez, I gotta preface this because my second one would be the Strymon Deco. It would be, but it can't because it's not MIDI. So I want to say right now to Pete Celli. Is it Pete Celli at Strymon? Pete, please make the Strymon Deco MIDI. Please make the El Cap MIDI. Please make the Flint MIDI. Why can't we have MIDI in those pedals?
Easy, Nancy Kerrigan.
Please do it for Tom. Nancy Kerrigan.
Why?
Oh, there's two people will get that one.
Yeah, the Strymon Deco is my absolute favorite pedal ever, and I don't own it anymore because it doesn't have MIDI. So I just wanted to put that in there. Next,
that Deco is a really incredible pedal. I mean,
such a great pedal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do when you play it. You're like, oh, it should be called
Yeah. It's like my desert island pedal. Like I can play a deluxe and a Strymon Deco, and that's it.
It's impossible to sound bad playing that.
Yeah, it's just the best. But why no MIDI? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Anyway, so instead of using that,
I have an idea for you, Tom. If you just get a shirt made that just says why no MIDI, and just stand in front of the Strymon booth at NAMM with like a really, really big, like a 64 ounce, like trucker size drink, and just stand there.
Yeah.
And just start to freak them out a little bit, and then have a pizza delivered to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Great.
All right, so because we can't have the Strymon Deco with MIDI, we're going to go with the GFI system audio, or GFI system synesthesia. Are you familiar with that one?
I am not familiar with that one.
You're hitting us with some.
Really? Oh my gosh,
Synesthesia.
it's such a great pedal. So that is it's digital, but it's a dual modulator. And it can flip back and forth. So there's a left side and right side, just like Strymon Deco. Maybe GFI should get together. You know, don't you think like two guys should have a baby? Like, you know, like when Chase Bliss gets together with Z-Vex and does that Fuzz Factory thing.
Yeah.
Or, two pedal builders get together and then they come up with like this amazing thing. I feel like, somebody should, although, I mean, Strymon has MIDI. Okay. Anyway, synesthesia is a dual modulator. Everything in it sounds fantastic. It's got every kind of modulation you could ever want. It's got has like arpeggiators and stuff.
That's only $399.
Yeah, it's $400. It's a little bit. It's a little bit of a learning curve because there's so much to it. I'm not a big fan of menus and stuff, but that one is not terrible.
Sure it is.
And
well, what do you know?
Yeah.
Just can't help yourself. It's coming down.
The best part is you can turn the knob and it'll say phaser. You turn the knob, it says flanger. Turn it says chorus.
That frees up like 2 extra spots on your board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you can have one on each side. You can run them into each other. You can run them parallel. So you could have, say, a chorus and a harmonic trim going on at the same time. It's MIDI, and it's one press. Boom. You got what you need.
Brilliant.
Fantastic pedal. Yeah. Number 3 is this one. I had a tough time because I'm not a fan of the size of it. It's this Strymon Volante. You're familiar with the Volante. Yeah, I'm a big fan of basically tape delay, and I love the Echoplex preamp kind of thing going on. The Volante sounds amazing, and it has MIDI, and it's easy to use, and that's why it's on my board.
It's the size of about 3 pedals, though. I mean,
that's the problem. Why, Pete? Why?
So on day 2 of the NAMM show, why so big?
Why so big? Why can't we take the L cap and make it with MIDI, and I would just give the Volante up? I'd be fine with that. The L cap is a fantastic delay. It has reverb in it. The one thing I really like about the Volante is it has an echo knob. It has a reverb knob, which if I'm playing a deluxe, I use the reverb on the deluxe anyway. But lately, I've been playing amp pedals instead of bringing my amp with me. So like the Iridium, basically. And so that's really great to have that reverb and the echo on there. It also has the knobs on the left. The recording knob is really cool because it gives you a little bit of saturation, but nothing like the Deco. Come on. The Deco, why? I just don't understand. Anyway. So Volante, yeah.
It's a beautiful pedal too. I mean,
yeah, and I tried to switch it out for the D1, the Walrus D1, and it's the D1's MIDI is a little bit tougher to use, I guess. It's as simple as saving again, but it's not. I can't do it as quick, and it doesn't have reverb on it. So I'm going with the Volante instead. The last one is, and I thought about this a lot, but I'm going to go with it. So I played the Iridium a lot. In fact, I use it on Friday, but I'm going to go with the Walrus ACS1. Okay, so basically the Walrus ACS1 it's like an Iridium, which is an amp pedal.
Yeah. That's okay. We discussed that with Eric Marrow on. Yeah. We didn't talk about the ACS one though.
Okay, yeah. The Iridium is a great pedal. Really great with MIDI. If you need something that because it has the Marshall in it and the AC30, you can get a lot of more distorted crunch stuff right in that pedal. The ACS1 is more of a pedal platform, so the gain on it, you don't really get as much from that. So that's where like the Sunset comes in. The Sunset goes into that. And the best part about this pedal is that you have it's stereo, so you can run like a wet dry rig if you want. You can combine the left and right side, where it has stereo in and out, where the Iridium, I don't know if you're familiar with Strymon pedals, but you have to have like a 3, to get stereo in, there's only one jack to go in. So you basically have to have like a TRS coming out to two single
You
pedal.
can't go. It's 1 in, 2 out, right?
Right. Yeah. So you can go stereo in, but you have to have that tri cable to get that to work. So it sounds amazing. It sounds like an amp. I run a QSC K8.2. That's an 8-inch speaker. It's real similar to like the Head Rush kind of a thing. Depending on what we're doing, what we're playing.
I think you need to work at Sweetwater.
Somebody just asked me to go to Gear Fest, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I've never been to Gear Fest, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going in June, you should go. And I had asked my son, and he's like, yeah, oh yeah, you wouldn't believe, and I'm a little bit afraid to go to Gear Fest because I don't want to come back broke or anything. So.
I tell you what, if you go and we haven't, and we're around and we're good, and because if we don't go to NAMM or whatever. Like that's not far away from us. You got to let us know if you do that, okay?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I want to go back now just one step and say that my absolute, besides the Strymon Deco, would be the exotic pedals, the EP boost, and the SP compressor together. Why can't that be one pedal? Why do we have to have two pedals? Everybody I know plays both of those pedals together. I have the Alchemy Audio mod to them, so the dip switches are on the outside as just switches. And that's another thing.
That's a super clever way to do it. Yeah.
Why do we have to have dip switches on the inside that you got to crack the thing open and see what it does? Like, just put it on the outside of the pedal. Not as much as like a Chase Bliss.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I'm just saying, make it a little more accessible. That's all. Alchemy does this mod to those pedals, and for the longest time I ran both of them. But again, it doesn't have MIDI. Make it one pedal and make it MIDI. That's
the man wants MIDI, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay,
Give the man MIDI.
So Strymon has a compadre. I have the compadre. You know why?
It's got MIDI.
MIDI.
Got MIDI.
But why can't Strymon put a switch on there that has the EP3 preamp coloration on it? Wouldn't that be cool? Just flick it on and there it is. I mean,
and we know that pedal, and it's like they're fantastic and they're completely indestructible.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Todd,
and they're not $300.
Yeah, I think you said you ran your EP boost just off, right?
I ran. Yeah, it was like just barely on.
Barely on. Yeah,
but it was just enough. It's like, little pixie dust.
Yeah, that's how I always ran it. I always ran it like that, and I always ran the SP compressor, and I think if they could make that one pedal, man, that would be so. That and the Strymon Deco, my life would be complete.
Perfect.
All right, industry, you have heard the word.
Yes.
Get out there and do it.
Yes, he's not he's not afraid to buy the pedals, so make them.
Yeah. Do it.
Wow. That is one heck of a board, man.
Yeah. It's got everything you need. I mean,
that's that's an advanced setup. It really is. I mean,
if I was more of an advanced player, it'd be even No, I have to say a lot of times I have a 68 Deluxe reissue, and that's my favorite, is just to go straight into that with, a few pedals or something. But with 7 people, I have to carry a lot of the equipment from the barn. The drum set's mine. So the least amount of stuff I can carry, and it always helps out. That's kind of why I switched to the Iridium, because I was carrying too much stuff, and I'm getting too old to carry that stuff. So
Yeah. Well, there you heard it, everybody. That's a very exciting pedal run, right? I mean, that was almost a whole show.
Yep.
So, could we talk a little more about MIDI?
Should we do a would you rather about MIDI?
No. So okay, so Tom, that was very exciting, and I love how
thank you.
involved you are in your gear and how knowledgeable you are in your gear. It just makes it so much more fun to listen to, and also that gives us a really good idea of who you are.
Yep.
Well,
you like MIDI?
Don't you find that so in my band I have some amazing musicians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to talk about gear. Nobody.
Really?
So I have to listen to you guys.
To get your fix.
These clowns don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, my keyboard / guitar player, he's into gear somewhat, so him and I can talk about it. But yeah, nobody really gets it. And I find the best musicians I know are the worst to talk about gear. They really don't care. They don't, and rightfully so, because they're so good. They don't, they don't really probably need as much gear. But yeah, so it's just great to be able to, because honestly, nobody cares.
Well, we do, and that's all that matters. So, Tom, let's get into finding out about where this love of gear started. You obviously care a lot about the guitar community. You are into gear as much as everybody else. Back up real quick to where did you first get the itch?
Oh my gosh. Well, I played guitar when I was young. I'm 53 now, so when I was right out of high school, I started guitar, and I played for maybe 5 or 6 years, and then I got married and had kids, and I put it down for a good 20 years. And my wife knew that I always wanted to, play and stuff. And so about 10 years ago, she got me some lessons, basically guitar lessons, as like a birthday present or something like that. And ever since then, I just, I had never, when I was young, I had a Backstage 50 and a Epiphone Strat, which I don't think you hear that too often anymore. But when I got back into it, I started, looking at pedals and stuff like that. And, early on in YouTube and stuff, and watching videos and everything else. And that's just kind of how I got into it, I guess. And then our band started. So
what was, after you kind of came out of the lapse, what was the first piece of gear that you said, oh, I got to get this?
I don't know. I mean, the first pedal I bought was, because I didn't know about pedals, because I never had any or anything like that. A friend of mine actually found some in a dumpster, and he gave them to me. It was Echo Park delay and the MXR full bore metal, and I plugged them in and stuff, and I was like, oh. The delay sounds great, but this full bore thing, it just, I wasn't getting it at all. I play Telecaster, so I just.
So you ran to the store and got a Metal Zone instead? Is that what you're telling us?
I think I started out with like a Mustang amp, because I really didn't know about amps and stuff, and and then I got like a Vox AC4. Little tube amp, and then I had an Egnator Rebel with a head with a speaker, and it just kind of progressed from there. And then I started getting pedals. I built my own pedal board. I've had probably just a ton of pedals, and I dump them as fast as I get them. If I don't like something, I dump it and I get something else. So, I would say, geez, I don't. Probably Phase 90 was the first one that I got that I really thought that I needed, and then I figured out later I didn't need it at all. So, yeah. Ever since, probably about 10 years ago, I'm, just been pretty much infatuated with it. And then listening to you guys, of course, that didn't help. So.
Tom, we are happy to oblige your gear acquisition syndrome. And, we all have it as well. And that's why
we embrace
so much fun. Yes, indeed.
You give us someone to point to and say, well, we're not as bad as him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Now, we had a lot of fun talking about your amazing pedals, 4 on the floor and all that stuff. As far as guitars go, I'd love to hear more about what you are playing and what you like. What do you, if you could have 3, we'll give you pick 3 and you can say, man, I would want these. What would the 3 guitars you want? And then we'll talk about the ones that you're actually playing.
Oh, okay. Geez, that's tough because the one I really want is one I actually play.
Oh, well then start there. let me untangle this for you.
A 2011 Mexican Tele FSR that I've it's got, I've went through 2 sets of Gun Street wiring now. I just put in the treble bleed into a Tele, which I'm regretting now. For the longest time I ran it without a tone knob. Not on purpose, just because I suck at soldering. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I absolutely suck at soldering. I just
see how easy it is to say that.
Yeah, I suck at saying it.
Yeah, it's just, geez, I even got one of those, guns that does both of the things at the same time and everything. Anyway, so I just changed out. I had gone through Gun Street when you guys had them on the show.
Yeah.
And I ordered a couple of kits, and so I finally got this one in, and I was playing the show on Friday, and I'm like, man, I'm not used to this at all. Like, I'm not used to being able, I'm used to, and then I thought, maybe that's why Eddie Van Halen just had a no tone knob, because it's like another variable or something. Mm-hmm. But I have to say the treble bleed really made a big difference. So it's an ash body, just Mexican, maple neck. I like maple necks probably more than
on a Tele. I especially like that more. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly, this is sad to say, but some people say they can hear a difference, but for me, I can see it better.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it works.
Hey, real quick, back to the tone, to the treble bleed for anybody that might not understand what you're talking about. Can you just explain that a little bit?
So supposedly when you turn down the volume, it doesn't lose the treble. Is it Brandon and Tony, would you agree with that?
Yeah, basically it allows the higher end, the trebly end of the signal to pass through the 2 lugs of a pot, so that goes, even as you turn your volume down. Typically, if you turn your volume down, you start losing high end.
Yeah, it starts sounding like there's a pillow over it.
Yeah. This allows that upper end of the signal to pass through, basically jump beyond the pot. Yeah.
And I use the tone knob a ton just for increasing gain and stuff like that too. So, so far it seems like it's pretty good.
Cool.
Mod. Ash body, amazing. I know a lot of people would say it doesn't matter, but it seems like it does to me. So,
well, it's going to really matter when Fender doesn't use ash anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we were just talking about that last week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start making our own guitars now. My second one would be, I have a Martin HP PL body. If you're familiar with that, so it's just the cheap Martin, lower end X series or whatever. I have like a triple O. It's kind of like I think it's called the Java Mahogany, something like that. But it's a great little acoustic. I've had it for 10 years. I can't really find things that sound better than it. And it's only like a $400 or $500 guitar. Ed Sheeran and Patrick Stump, those guys play the same, kind of body. It doesn't, and being out in the barn, my barn is heated and everything, but and air conditioned, but temperature changes quite a bit. So a wood body wouldn't be the best, where the HPL it never moves. So, and I can go for a week without touching it, and I come back, it's dead in tune. It's a great little guitar. Yeah. If I could have one that I really would want, it would probably be the next series up with the cutaway. I forget what it's called, the GPC something or other. And that's a non-HBL body. But
and explain the HBL body.
High pressure laminate. So that's like almost like I don't want to call it plastic.
You don't want to call it plywood, but that's essentially what it is.
That's essentially, yeah. You think of like like a Mosrite, or I don't know, something like that. Yeah, it's basically just high pressure laminate. It's not
like
wood.
Plasticized wood.
Plasticized wood is what it is. It contains wood particles, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And then let's see, what would be my other one? Three's kind of push. I've always been sort of that guy that tries to do everything with one.
I just can't believe you got all that pedal. You've got like half of Sweetwater at your feet, and you're playing one electric.
Okay, so here's where we're gonna go with this. So I've always felt the same way about the Strats as you did, Todd.
My man.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to change it, aren't you?
Because don't you feel like it's like the cliche?
I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, but even if I couldn't see it, it feels wrong in my hands, and it's not the right thing for me to play. It doesn't go with the kind of stuff I want to play. It just doesn't.
Right. I've always felt that way, but I ended up buying one. And I haven't really done a lot with it yet, but I thought if I ever get one, it's going to be a Sonic Blue, mint pickguard, just a regular,
That's a good color choice, Benedict.
Yeah, sort of like the, kind of like the Weezer kind of vibe thing going on, but not, that was a Warmoth, I guess, but the George Harrison, I guess it was at his, I don't know. The Edge with the the bigger headstock on it. Mm-hmm. And there's just some sounds you just can't get without.
No, that's true. That's totally true. Yeah.
That's the tough thing because, but it is.
I just don't need any of those sounds. That's the thing.
No. Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing I was going to say too, is that, like listening to the Valentinos, you've got a sound that's like, this is it, right? This is your sound.
Yeah.
From song to song, it's going to change, but it's not going to change so drastically as like a cover band. We're going from, Tom Petty to Neil Diamond. It's like big changes here.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be the only reason that, I could see like not, going that direction, I guess. But, I have other guitars. I probably from the show, I've been trying to like mod guitars and stuff. My son just got into guitar, so
cool.
I just took a Bullet Mustang and I put humbuckers, like regular size humbuckers in it. I have a Firefly, one of those Amazon Firefly guitars, which I still cannot get. I got the Gun Street kit and I'm trying to get the stuff in there, and I keep on, I've got tubes going in, going out and stuff, and put everything in. I'm like, oh, great. And then I realized I didn't hook up one of the pickups and, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I do putz around with the other stuff. I bought my kids all Orangewood guitars for Christmas, just the cheap ones, and they've been having a good time with those. But yeah, so I think if I was to get another one right now, it'd probably be I should tell the story too of when I first got back into guitar. I thought, oh, I got to get something good, right? Because, I want to be serious this time about it, And I bought a Gresh Duo Jet for like $1,400, and it was the worst decision I ever made because I am not that careful with stuff. I put a Bigsby on it, and I was just, really excited and stuff, but I never, I just had the trouble playing. It was like, holding a piece of glass or something. I wasn't comfortable. So I sold it and I bought a Squire Telly, and I had the best time, and I beat the crap out of it. And then I got, a couple other things until I got my Mexican Telly. And that's kind of where I sit, is I like to have guitars that I'm not afraid, to wreck, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you might want to ignore the message I just sent then.
Oh, which one?
I was just showing you Chase Gullett's new model that he's got out.
Oh, really?
It's ridiculous. It's so nice.
Well, and I think a lot of. Did you see the new Baum stuff? Baum guitars? Yeah, it just came out today. They just did a whole line of.
They do the car inspired.
Yeah, the car and the guitar thing.
I've talked to them, and it's not really a. They're like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think they run like, $1,000 to $2,000 for their regular stuff.
Yeah, but they're in Denmark, so things are a little bit tougher. But
right, they just came out with a whole Korean line of the same.
No kidding.
Like Epiphone. Gibson kind of copy kind of a thing. And,
they almost have sort of like a Jaguar / Iceman kind of, or an Explorer.
Like a retro
and
yeah.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah, actually, so if I was to get another one, I'd probably just get an Epiphone. Let's talk about headstocks.
Okay.
Epiphone has had the worst headstock design for years, aesthetically. Am I wrong?
Well, it depends which era you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, in the 50s era, it was still kind of shaped like it was, but where were they made? In New York back then in the 50s?
In the 50s? Yeah.
Those are probably okay, but over the last 20 years.
I want to know, did they design that?
They haven't been
top
great.
Of that? Did they design the top of that headstock?
No, but I think it was the smartest thing ever since the new Epiphones that just came out. They tried to make them a little more Gibson-like.
Yeah, I saw that at NAMM 2019.
They kind of got the edge back. That everything was getting too
edge.
roundy.
It's not all
the open
flowery.
book instead of the weird extra bump up.
Yeah,
the open book.
Yeah, giant headstock with the flowery things and all that kind of stuff. I just feel like, I'm talking on a Les Paul. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they switched it to this, I feel like it's way better.
Yeah.
Giant headstocks. So the Strat that I have has like the 70s headstock. I'm okay with, but some of these are just, they're crazy sizes. Like a Dean or some of the Schecter stuff. Just giant. I don't know. Just aesthetically, I don't know if that's just to balance things out, but I feel like Epiphone, I don't know. They made a really good decision though doing that. And have you seen the new Casinos?
I haven't seen the Casinos. I was a couple
yeah.
of weeks ago. We were talking about the Coronets and the Crestwoods and Wilshires.
A $400 drab green Casino. Casinos have always been around $600.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can get one for $400 in a, more of a pukey color, kind of like the Chris Cornell kind of, 335 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think super smart for, Gibson or Epiphone or, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I guess if I was going to get something right now, I'd get one of the worn body Epiphones with that new headstock, or I'd get the drab green Casino. That would be kind of my vibe.
I feel like the build on them, just not having picked one up yet, except for Tony's, it's like between what they're doing now, because they also released a lot of the old models, and then they also have the new release of the new Jared James Nichols Les Pauls, right? Those
Glory,
look wicked.
Yeah. My keyboard player, so this is like one of those, my brother, sister, girlfriend. So his niece, who grew up with him, he pretty much raised her, married Jared James Nichols' brother. So the one day he's like, hey, do you want to go see this guy I never heard of, John 5? He's playing like just down the road or whatever from us, with Jared's playing there. And I was like, well, yeah, I love John 5. I didn't really know Jared James Nichols, but yeah, if you've seen him play, he's incredible. It was a amazing show. And yeah, unfortunately, John 5 had problems, though. His sound problems or whatever.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, but it was like a Tuesday night, and so we watched Jared's show and took off. Yeah, but his what does he call him? Is it the Glory? Old Glory.
Yeah, Old Glory, and then there's
the gold one now.
Gold Glory and Old Glory. Old Glory is a black one, and it's a single P90 with a wraparound bridge and sort of a matte black. That thing looks awesome.
Yeah. My favorite Les Paul is still, and I think I wrote about this on the forum or something, was I'm a huge Boston fan, Tom Schultz, Boston. Mm-hmm. And the Tom Schultz, I think it's a 68, and he has a DiMarzio super distortion in the bridge, P90 in the neck. And to me, that's always like, I don't know if that's really a thing or not, but I feel like that's the Les Paul that I would want. Something like that. So I thought, well, I could take that Epiphone with the worn gold finish, kind of sand it off a little bit, pull out the bridge and put in a different, and pretty much have it there. Mm-hmm. Of course, it'll never sound like him, but
I would totally pick up one of those. The old Glories.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right up my alley for what I do too.
How about his Black Star amp though? Have you seen that?
I have not seen that. Man, where do you have all this time to find all this stuff?
Todd loves Black Star amps, by the way.
I love Black Star. Okay, so you were talking before. So I am super hyped up on the Vibo Champ. Okay. Mm-hmm. I wish it had spring reverb. I don't know why they didn't put spring reverb in it. My son has gotten into guitar. He's been going through all my stuff. Every time I turn around, something else is gone. He stole my Mustang, and he's bought his own Telecaster now and has reliced it already. But basically, I forgot where I was going with this.
Black Star amp.
Black Star amp.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, have you ever heard of Nuex? I had the Nuex MG300, which is just a little multi-effects unit in the house. We just put that downstairs where we're working on guitars and stuff. And so he wanted an amp, and I said, why don't you just play this for a while? And so he hooked up like a speaker to it, and I'm like, no, you got to just listen with headphones. And he's like, Dad, I really need an amp. And I'm like, okay. So I had a gift certificate, because everybody gives me gift certificates for Guitar Center. I don't know why. And we went and bought just a Katana 50. Mm-hmm. You're familiar with Katana. Mm-hmm. I thought this is kind of like the perfect thing for him. He can play in the house. He can play with headphones. He can, if nobody's home, he can just play it, whatever. So for about a week, he was playing it. And then all of a sudden, and I just walked in today again, he's playing my deluxe all the time. And I said in the barn, and I was like, Adam, why do you not like the Katana? And he's like, no, it's just the deluxe sounds a lot better. And I'm like, okay, so is that a thing, or does he on? I'm like, you got all the effects and everything on there, and he's like, yeah, I just like it just plain straight in with nothing. He put a little. I have a little overdrive pedal. One of those Nobles minis, and he was playing that today, and then I think like, yes, that's my son finally.
I'd be curious to hear that next to my Supro, because it's almost, I mean, spec wise, it seems to be pretty close. 20-watt combo, and with a 12-inch speaker, and it's at you on Reverb used 650. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. But the what we were talking about with the Black Star stuff, when you were talking about like all the different ones, I was thinking, what about the Black Star 5-watt Mark II? Have you looked at that?
Oh yeah, I mean that's
yeah.
That's I think I put the 10-watt in there actually. For him, but the 5-watt would make sense. Yeah, maybe probably even more sense.
So Jared James Nichols has the Racing Green, and his is the 20-watt. If you watch any of the YouTube videos, you can see he plays it all the time with his, signature guitar or whatever. But I think the Black Star stuff is amazing. I've had a lot of the
it is.
Yeah, it is. It really is. The ID Core stuff, just as a practice thing, I was kind of into that for a while.
I have a Soloist 60 combo, and it you can plug it into 100-watt or a you can plug it into a 412 cabinet, and it fills it up. It sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
It's a 60-watter, so you plug it into a cab of Celestians, and it's a great amp.
You have the aux though too, right?
Yeah, I have that, but I mean, I could use the aux if I really want to play through a real amp when my wife's home. But when my wife's not home, I'll just plug in and just walk around the corner, and just fill up the whole basement with guitar.
Yeah. I feel like that whole. You guys watch like 5-Watt World on YouTube?
I've caught a couple things actually. I want to see about getting him on the show. I thought about that.
Yeah, you should get him on a show.
Yeah.
Yay.
Definitely.
Doug and Pat's. Cool. Doug and Pat, I would have loved to have Doug and Pat, but those guys, I think they're done. They're not doing videos anymore.
Really?
Doug and Pat show, yeah. They're like, we're done. That's all. That's it.
I think it's tough, isn't it? I mean, first of all, like this show, this is a ton of, I'm sure it's more work for Todd than anybody, but
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Todd pretty much produces everything, and yeah. And Tony and I are just the clowns that join in. Pretty much. I mean, when he says that, we all laugh and have a good time, but
then he's got to go edit.
Spends a lot of time on it.
Yeah. He's got to go edit all that stuff out.
Speaking of editing it all out,
probably do that.
This is going to turn into 2 episodes, which, hey, the cool thing is we love to have, this has been awesome. And I know that we have hours more.
Yeah.
We got plenty more to talk to you about.
I'm really, it's really cool that you guys asked me. I think though, for me, I'd like to hear some of those other guys that are after my name be on, because I'm sure they have a lot better stuff to talk about.
I don't know, man. It's been a joy having you on the show. It really has. I mean, because it just leads into, more cool stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, speaking of more cool stuff, Jared, we need to hear what's going on with the Would You Rather right now.
Oh yeah. It's come to the time in the episode where I sing a little ditty like this. It goes, would you rather All right. This week's Would You Rather. Thank you. This week's Would You Rather is from our buddy Ron Lister or Lister. Sorry, I screwed that up. Lister. I like it. Lister. We'll do that. And he writes this, and I really like this one. So I'm walking down the street one day, deep in thought, exploring my motivation for being a musician, when the simplest of questions pop into my brain. Would you rather spend the better part of your life touring and playing large venues as part of a famous band, like Rolling Stones or Aerosmith, whatever, or would you rather lead a normal life where you and a group of buddies who have an amazing chemistry as a group of musicians jam once or twice a week for fun and maybe play the occasional local gig? Cheers. Thank you, Ron. He is from Canada.
That's a tough question. That is a very tough question. I think we all have thought about that at one time or another. Mostly on one side, since most of us have only been on one side. But
right.
Tony,
we got a sneak peek though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think anybody who isn't touring full time, well, they're certainly not anymore right now, at least. But I think the obvious choice, fame and fortune and playing and all the fun stuff. But everyone that I know that is either working on a crew or is on stage, there is a point where the fun stops. You start to forget where you are, where you're playing.
Yeah.
The days kind of all run into each other, and it becomes literally a chore instead of the joy that you can get from just, playing on your own terms.
Your wife might send you a John Deere letter.
Yes, a John Deere. Is she going to send a tractor? Old green and yeller.
Yep. Dumb and Dumber there for you.
Yeah.
Nicely played. So, as attractive as, and the stipulation here was a lifetime of this stuff. I think as attractive as, the fame and fortune and screaming crowds and all that stuff, there is something special about being able to get together with some buddies and just jam. Everybody has a common, music vocabulary usually, and it's fun to play in front of a live crowd, but it's also very satisfying, I think, to be able to share music ideas with friends. I guess if I had to choose a lifetime of either, I would probably choose the latter. So I'm going with the get together with the buds and be another broke musician.
All right.
Jared.
Oh, yes. So when I was younger, I never really had any expectations of actually being rich and famous. And now that I'm older, we've gone to concerts and we've been behind the scenes. It's very hectic, and it's organized, but yet hectic at the same time, where it's just not, behind the scenes to me is not attractive at all. Even if I had a huge bank account full of money, because you're on tour continuously, especially in the beginning of your career, you're on tour so long, you have no home life. And then say you get famous, you cannot go anywhere. You can't go anywhere without being bothered. When I was at a guitar show, Seymour Duncan was there. The man would listen. The normal everyday person doesn't even know who Seymour Duncan is, right? But everybody at Guitar Show does, and he's kind of a legend within the guitar community. So everybody was bothering him, even while he was eating breakfast at the hotel restaurant. He couldn't eat his food. I mean, I I would not even want to be famous on a Seymour Duncan level. I mean, like, and you can't be a jerk, right? Or else that one person will go online. I tried to meet Seymour Duncan, and he was mean because he was trying to eat his omelet. I mean,
I did that to Mike Matthews from Electro Harmonics. Sorry.
You know what I mean?
Halfway into a burrito. Hey, picture.
Yeah,
but he was
lovely.
nice about it, you know.
Being rich and famous, it's got its goods, man. But I have that chemistry with those guys that I've known all my life, and I got you guys. That's all I need. And I got my little pickup business. My little tiny pickup business, my little house. I couldn't be any more happier. I'm definitely choosing the latter.
Yay.
Wow, that was very thoughtful, Jared.
That's true.
Let's get the band back together, Jared.
Let's do it, man.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, I'm already doing that. I'm already playing with my guys. I can't imagine. I think I would start to hate guitar if I had to do it. Don't you think?
Same
Like, it would be
songs.
yeah,
over and
yeah.
over. Forever.
I mean, there's one of those things where, sometimes I see bands that are playing, 30 years old or whatever, and they're playing their same songs, their hits or whatever, and I think it's kind of cool to think like they did something that long ago and they can still go out and people still want to hear it, right? But yeah, I don't know how it's for them. To me, I would love to do that because I do it now. I play cover songs, and we love that. But I think maybe if it was a rotation like that, where you're like, oh, geez, 6 nights a week, and here we go again. I think you could really start to hate it
For 30 years. Same songs.
Yeah,
30 years.
yeah.
Yep. I don't know.
I mean, we can at least play different songs. So,
Right.
yeah, I would choose all day long, just hanging out with guys. I mean, and that's what we hang out, we drink beer. That's the whole thing of it. If we play out, it's more, like I said, a couple times a year or whatever. We're not doing it to make money. We're just doing it for fun. So.
What about you, Todd?
I think this is really, really difficult because, it's sort of like lifetime dream, like get to be on the big stage and, all that stuff. But I don't, man, it's really tough because if you're saying it's a really famous band, the doors that are opened up and the places you'll go and the things you'll see, have got to be pretty incredible. And I know
things you won't see,
or things you won't see.
What if your biggest hit, Todd, is a song that you absolutely hate, and and it's your own personal hell? You've got
first of all, I
$30 million. You've got $30 million in the bank.
Yeah,
but you have to sing that song 4 to 5 times a week every night,
and it's Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, like that's like being in hell. You know what I'm saying? Like Pat Benatar talks about
or
it.
like
She hates hit me with your
carry
best
on my wayward son or something.
Oh,
that's not an easy song to do.
No,
or light my fire.
There it is. It's not an easy one,
Yeah.
No,
And you have to play it on a Strat.
Yeah. I'll go with you. I'll have to go with you guys on there. I
talked you out of it.
I've
stay home with
been
us.
in several different bands, and there's something special about each one. So the idea of being locked into one for a whole life. Now, we don't know. I don't know what that's like. I see the Rolling Stones, do their special on Netflix where they're, going all over South America and everything, and loving it. So I'm like, it can't be that bad. I don't know.
The who's doing it right is the boss, man. His band, the E Street Band. They've got guitar players coming in and out of that band all the time. It's like when one guy gets tired, another guy comes in and tours, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't do that. All right. Well, that's pretty good question, Ron Lister, because you really did force us to make the choice that, I think in a heartbeat we would say, I want to be on the big stage. That's why that's what
if
we
you were
dream
20
of.
years old, you would say big stage without a hesitation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Right.
exactly. Because now I got family, I got this, I got you guys, I got out in bands and all that stuff. But we are where we are now. The question was asked of us now. So
Yes.
think long and hard about that, listeners. What would you really do? Anyhow, that was a really good one. Thank you so much. I know that we are long in the tooth on this, but we've had such a great time talking to Tom.
It's worth it, man.
And speaking of Tom, we have to thank a few people before we say goodbye to him.
That's right.
Oh, yes, we do. Todd, at this point of the show, we like to thank a very, very special group of people. We call them our executive producers. You might be wondering, what is an executive producer and how can I become one? Very simple, folks. Head over to patreon.com/the guitar knobs. Tom Burazin did it many, many, many years ago. It's very simple, very fun, and very fulfilling. And it makes this podcast possible. So without further ado, I'm gonna add something to that. So there's
Start
a
at
bunch
the
of
bottom.
no, well,
You do.
yeah, well, I might do that. But I'm going to say that there are some great thank you gifts that are part of the package. Things like T-shirts and keychains and barefoot buttons and picks and stickers and all the good stuff. But as executive producers, there's one more great thing. And Jared, what is that?
Tom, you say it.
You get your name right on the thing.
That's right.
Yeah. You get your name read on the thing.
Yep.
And so without further ado, I'm going to read these names of executive producers and thank them personally. Let's start with our latest and work our way backwards with, of course, an idea in mind. Special thanks to Elad Mizrahi, John Saxby, Gary Cooper, Douglas King, David Rando, Jason Roush, John Jackson, John Williams, Tyg Harmon, Richard Kendall, James Pennington, Liam Martin, Matt Hart, James White, Brett Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, John Esterly, Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Garen Gregory, Chris Carney, John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Burazin.
All right.
But wait, there's more. Don't stop now. Because the guys that live just upstairs from the executive producers on the penthouse suite are grand poobahs. These guys get a special fez to wear while listening to the podcast as an additional thank you. So special thanks to these grand poobahs: Tyler Ryans, Tim Novak, Steve Keys, Adam Johnson, Mark Garton, Tommy Manasco, Sean S. Yes. Cody Foster, Cody Lane, David Kaminga, Corey Nigro, and Jonathan Jerusik. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right on.
All right.
Well, guys, that's quite a list. We'd love to continue to add to that. And if you feel compelled, we would really appreciate it. All right, Tony Bolonsky, where can people find you?
Well, let's just say you need a special pick guard. You want to do something, change out pickups, change the color, change the material, whatever. Head over to pickguardian.com and just take a look at some of the things that I offer there. By and large, what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email. Just let me know what you need, what you're working with. I can maybe even help you out with some parts and or pickups because I know a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Or shoot me an email. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Jared?
Yes. listeners, if you are in need of any pickup repair or you need some cool custom pickups for your guitar, especially new pickups that look old or new pickups that look new because they're new, go to BrandonWongPickups.com. Also, check out my rewind time with Brandon Wong Pickups. And I've got lots of episodes that I'm going to post soon. And there you go. What about you, Todd?
Well, you can send me an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com, or DM me on Instagram @guitarknobs. We'll do our best to answer your questions. Love to hear from you, your would you rathers, etc. Do whatever. Say hi. And I'll be sure to share it with Jared and Tony. We want to, again, thank you, Tom Burazin, for your ongoing support and your love of the guitar world that we all share.
Thank you guys, and thanks to all the Patreons.
You bet. All right, everybody, have a great guitar weekend. Subscribe.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello? Test?
Your gain is too hot.
I'm in the barn right now.
I don't even know.
What the hell are you sending him? How about now? None of the things make any sense. It's not doing it right.
Oh my gosh.
It's too low.
Does it smell like peanut butter or something?
Keep going.
Well, welcome.
How about now?
The monkey's thinking about his finger position.
Is this good?
You don't have to get right on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
His brain wants to eat it. That's the problem.
Well,
Yeah.
Get us to the next thing, Jared.
What do we got? What do we got going on right
How
now?
about some of this? What is
All
it?
right.
You got
I know,
three
I
things
know,
that you say.
I got a billion things on my mind. So
Okay.
here it goes.
The dog's face.
Yeah, dog was not pleased. Just
Is this too
back,
loud? Is
just
this too
back
loud?
off the mic. That's all.
We are clear, my man.
Oh my God, I can't believe how much work this is.
Oh, the work. This is not the work.
Yeah, the work
This
is later.
This is the play. The work
This
is later.
Insane. This is insane. This is like, geez, how do you do this?
I watched that 100 times. As I was saying, Tom, on this distinguished show, we are thrilled to have you on.
Yeah.
It's so terrible.
Keep going.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at guitarknobs. Catch you next time.